everybody, it's Trisha with Chocolate Musings, and I am excited to show you my setup for July. I'm going to do some experimenting and wanted to show you a little bit of my process. I don't have any doodles or anything really set up other than what the page is supposed to be at the bottom. I go through and I pencil that in. So this page, my welcome page for July, is also going to be my monthly and my habits. I have this many pages left in my bullet journal. I tend to keep all of my collections at the back. And so that's how many pages I have left in this bullet journal, and it happens to be pretty close to what I need for a regular month. And during the summer month, it should be just fine. A little review for June was ice cream, and I am going to try something I've done in the past. I want to do a watercolor wash on the background, and I've pre-cut some sticky notes, and I'm going to place them down so that they basically block out the watercolor for the most part on the page. I just I cut these, what are they, 3x3 sticky notes in half, and then about to the size that I want them. I'm not going to follow boxes too intensely. By the way, I am using a Scribbles That Matter 160 GSM A5 book. You can watercolor in it. You have to be careful of how much water you use because it's not watercolor paper. Alrighty, so I have got my ceramic palette. You can't always see what's around the screen, so I wanted to show you. I have, normally you can use just paper towel, but I have a washable, reusable, it's like a microfiber cloth. I have my watercolor paints. My husband got these for me for my anniversary. I really like the colors. Brushes. Since I'm not painting on watercolor paper, I tend to use a smaller brush to limit the amount of water that goes onto the paper. It stands up really well to most things, but you just want to be very careful about how much water you add. So I will use these bigger brushes sparingly. I think the palette that I want to do be kind of like Caribbean blue, not really beachy, but just that clear blue water or the deep blue water. I don't really plan on having a theme other than using some abstract watercolors. And I'm going to paint down, or at least try to, so that I don't get too much water underneath the unsticky side of my sticky notes here. I'm just using quick brush strokes and trying to mix up the colors while not using a whole lot of water. Sometimes you have to go back over the same spot a couple of times to actually mix the colors. This might be a good place to try out the watercolor, where you put markers on a bag and you spritz it down and then you put it on here. So I think I'm gonna try that. Let me go get the supplies for it. All right, so to do this technique, you need a plastic bag or a sheet protector, something plastic that you can scribble on. You can do this with watercolors, or you can use water-based markers. These are Tombow dual brush tips. This is number 243. It's a very light mint. It's kind of hard to see this. So what I'm gonna do, open the bag here, and I'm just gonna put a piece of paper in it, so maybe you can see it a little bit better. This is number 373. I'm sticking with same type of color scheme, 452. You can use a little spray bottle. I have a handy dandy little spritzer. I'm just going to spritz. Truth be told, I've never had very good luck with this technique, so I'm okay if it fails again. I just wanted to try it again. And I'm gonna take the paper out so that I can see what's happening. Oh, and I had it run, dang it. And you stick it on your page and kind of let it blend. Oh, that's actually looking really nice. Maybe I just didn't do enough water that it could run together. And then I'm going to remove it. And that's a lot of water on that page, a lot of water. So I'm going to use my dabber here and remove some of it, because yeah, you can see that it started coming through right here. So just be aware, this is a lot of water on the page, but if you don't mind it doing this on the previous one, I think it made the watercolor look more of what I was looking for versus over here. I think I might have to come back over here and fix this. And you don't have to have watercolor paints to do this with the Tombows. In fact, you can just scribble with the Tombows. Sorry about that. You could just scribble with the Tombows and use water and paint with the Tombows. So you don't have to have watercolor at all. All right, let's look at a little sneak peek. That's not gonna be too bad. I'm excited to reveal that. That'll be good. All right, I'm going to let this page dry, and then we will come back and see how it looks when we pull off the sticky notes. All right, so are you ready for the big reveal? Let's see what it looks like. Alrighty, I don't mind it at all. In fact, it feels like a little bit underwater, which is totally fine. One thing that we could do is we could add a little bit of shadow in the top and left side of the boxes. Normally I add shadow on the outside bottom right, but I think I'm gonna add it in the inside to make it look like it's deeper in. And maybe I will go around some of these colors. Let's test out a little bit of colors and see which ones would do well. Spare sheet of paper here. This is a Tombow Fudenosuke. What is this? Hard tip gray. And this is what I'm meaning is what I'll do is I will go around like this and just follow the watercolor. Pentel Sign brush pen. And I'm just trying to see, oh, that one's a little bit too dark. I'm trying to see which ones have a very subtle color to them. What I could do, I'm gonna see if this works. I've got my clear blender and then N65 in my Tombow brush. It's a lighter gray. And so now I've got some of the gray on my colorless blender here. And it fades away. I really want it to be subtle, especially on this edge. It seems like it's getting more pronounced, but maybe if I use it on the side, I'll have to turn the book a bit. I think that'll work. And then it may stain it a little bit, but you can just clean it off. These are self-cleaning and it'll clean itself off. So let's try a little bit of this. Maybe what I need to do is just color the tip instead of press it like this. Just color the tip so that it blends out to the clear. And that is giving the right kind of shadow that I was looking for. The shadow is heavier up against the edge, and then it fades away as it gets towards the center. So it makes it look like it's dropped down into the page. And I just made this up. I've never seen this before. I made it up to kind of make up for my mistake because it seeped under here. But I really, now that I'm going over this, I kind of wish more would have messed up. Oops, I didn't get enough on that. So I'm holding these point to point, and I'm slowly turning the colorless blender so that I get an even distribution, hopefully, around the tip of this one. And then I'm pressing down so that it bends the tip of the marker and so that it creates its own fade all on its own. You can see it's time to replenish. Oh, and I've forgotten a couple. Don't worry, I will go back and make sure that I get these. So that is another way that you could do the shadows and have them be even more intense, is lightly outline where you want the darkest part to be, and then use, whoops, let's do a little bit more over here. Then use the colorless blender just on the side and pull the color out. The page for me tends to pill a little bit when I do that. So I don't like to use the colorless blender to do that, because when you rub back and forth on the paper, it likes to bring up shreds of the paper, and I'm not such a fan of that. And sometimes it almost feels like you're using up the ink in the Tombow marker. So if you ever feel like you're using it up, place it, you know, gravity down so that it's pointing down. But if you use the marker, it'll increase the flow. That's a really fun monthly calendar page. It is definitely very unique. Definitely not something that I have done before, and I'm really pleased with it. Okay, I'm going to just fix a couple of the things that I see now that I've stopped drawing. Sometimes you have to stop and look at it before you can make any final corrections. And then I just need to add the dates and the name of the month, which this one is July, but and then my habits, going to add the dates along here. And I will use this area to write notes, or like I said, I'm running out of pages, and so I did not include a journal page in this one, so I may use this area for journaling. This is a Zebra Sensations technical drawing. It's got a rounded tip, which I really like, and I am apparently, I've got marker all over me, but it's got a rounded tip, so you don't have to write straight down. And once it's dry, you can watercolor paint over it if you need to. So it is water resistant. I don't know that there's a whole lot more that I need to add to this page. So I'm really pleased with it. I'm excited about it. I think it looks good. And I think on my weekly pages, I set up my weekly pages pretty, they're pretty simple. I do a lot of artwork on them, as you can see, but the layout is pretty simple. And I think I'm going to go do some research. You can check out my blog post on what they look like, but I don't think I'm going to do that here now because I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. Maybe I will follow some more of this technique and just see what I can come up with. Maybe do some headers, but I will definitely link my blog post below so that you can see how I tie the theme together. I hope you've enjoyed this free-form plan with me and inventing some new ways of using the colorless blender on the Tombow marker. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit subscribe. I am excited to put out some more videos and have some tips for you and learn along with you, but also share what I find, because I love doing that. I love sharing what I find. So have a great month, everybody. I will see you, and let me know what you'd like to see, if any videos, in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.